Have you ever just stopped doing something? You didn't plan on stopping, but maybe there was a pandemic, and maybe there was unending construction noise outside your window, and then maybe your brain was dissolved by doing unending financial calculations to figure out where the budget's landed at the end of the third quarter and how much money you need to spend in the fourth quarter, and where spending numbers might land when the dollar is changing its value and accrual accounting gets in the mix and overspend, underspend. That ever happened to you? Well, it happened to me, and I stopped filming altogether. Stopped filming. So I thought, to get a little momentum, maybe I could get myself started again by doing Rick McNeil's book spin tag challenge thingy. So I'm going to give it a go. I've picked 20 books and grouped them into 5 groups. Math. Fiscal close is hard on my brain. The first stack of books I have are all books I've been given over the years and haven't read yet. Some of them I've had for decades, like this one. This is Thea Astley's It's Raining in Mango, an Australian novel. It's actually signed, and I've had it probably 2 decades and still haven't read it, so I thought maybe that would be a good one to get read. I have Interpreters of Silences. This is Jean McNeil's novel. Also, I've had this for several years. Set in the Maritimes. Haven't read it. I have Jane Collier's An Essay on the Art of Ingenious Tormenting. I've had this, probably 15 years. It's an 18th century text, a satire. Shorty, so I thought I'd like to get that one done. And the fourth one in my stack of gifts I haven't read yet would be this one. This is The Sensualist by Barbara Hodgson. It's an illustrated book, so it's got flaps and things falling out of it. I've had this one for maybe a decade, so that's the first group. My second stack of books are Virago Modern Classics that have been sitting on my shelves for a while. The skinny little one by Katherine Mansfield, The Aloe. I haven't read Mansfield in years, so I thought that would be interesting to have another crack at. I have Betty Miller's On the Side of the Angels. This is a World War II novel, which I don't know much about. At this point, I've got Rose Macaulay's Told by an Idiot. Rose Macaulay is one of my favorite authors, so I would love to read this one. And lastly, Summer Will Show. This is a historical novel set in 1848 by Sylvia Townsend Warner. For my next little mini stack of choices, I have books I pulled off of my Atlantic shelf. I have Lynn Coady's Hellgoing. These are short stories, mostly set in the Maritimes. It's been sitting around waiting for me to read it. I have something I don't think is going to be particularly good, but I'm interested in its description of setting. This is Ralph Connor's The Iron Gold, which is set on the Bador Lakes. I don't think it's going to be particularly fabulous, but I'm interested in it. And then I have 2 rereads, things I read when I was in my early 20s. This is Middlewatch by Susan Kerslake. This is an Oberon Press book. Pretty badly sun damaged at this stage, and it's like, I've had this one since probably my 3rd year of my undergraduate degree. It very much impressed me then, but I don't know whether it's going to hold up or not. But I'm curious about it. And I have another thing I read probably the last year of my undergraduate degree. This is Percy Jane's House of Hate. This is a Newfoundland novel. I think it's going to turn out to be pretty much like Joel Hind's novels, but I don't remember much of it beyond that I found it particularly intense when I read it the first time. My next little stack of books all have something to do with journeys of one sort or another. I have Isabella Bird's account of traveling through the Rocky Mountains in the late 19th century. I have, this is a kind of fits, doesn't fit, Amos Tutuola's novel, which involves journeys. It's called Pauper, Baller, and Slanderer. It's been sitting there waiting for me to get to it. And the third one in this stack is a biography of Alexandra-Neel, who was a traveler to Nepal and Tibet at a time when very few white people travel there. She lived there for quite a while. And last in this stack is a beat-up copy of John Glasgow's Memoirs of Montparnasse. Glasgow was a Canadian. This is a pseudonym. Large sections of this memoir of his time in Paris in the 20s are entirely made up, but it's fun to read, and I haven't read it in a very long time, so I thought I'd give that one a crack. And in my last stack, I have books I purchased in November and December, so things that I've had for a very short period of time but haven't read yet. I have Nora Loretto's Take Back the Fight, a book about feminism in Canada. Something I picked up by whim, Patrick Hamilton's The Slaves of Solitude. I have a memoir by Lenny Goodings of her time editing at Virago, A Bite of the Apple. And lastly, A History of the Pocket. This is an illustrated text of the history of pockets that used to be tied around the waist, attached to women's garments prior to the prevalence of purses, handbags, knapsacks, tote bags, that kind of thing. So that's my 20 books, a mix of books people have given me but I haven't read, Virago modern classics that I've been meaning to read and haven't gotten to, a stack of books set in Atlantic Canada, another small stack of books about various kinds of journeys, and books I've bought recently. Who knows which number's going to come up when Rick does his thing, but I think I've got some good choices to work with here, and most of them are a reasonable length for reading. Outros are hard. You know, when you haven't been doing this thing, it's not only hard to get started, it's hard to figure out how to end them. Lord love me. I hope you've been doing well, and that you're taking care of yourself and taking care of your kin, and finding good things to read. Bye-bye.